First of all, thank you. This is by far the largest response to a video that I have ever received. We made it to 200 subscribers, and then some, and the video I made has passed 10,000 views, and the feedback was wonderful. There was also some other stuff, and I want you all to know that your suggestions were heard, and the next video I will make will be an analysis on Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, which was a pretty common request I got. But right after I posted my one villainous scene video, I went to go see The Suicide Squad, and of course, I loved it. In fact, I would probably say that it was one of the best theater experiences I've had, which was so refreshing after a year of watching movies at home. But after walking home from the local AMC, something about that movie stuck with me. I wasn't sure what until I put together the words in my mind. The Suicide Squad was a perfect example of how to succeed at absurdist comedy. Almost every single second of this movie had me so confused because it felt like I was laughing at the movie with the movie. It's like the movie wanted me to think it was absolutely ridiculous. But how does a movie like this work? Well, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because I am going to be explaining the reasons why jokes are funny. Oh my God! In all seriousness, what makes us laugh? As you probably know, there are lots of different types of jokes, specifically comedic genres. Deadpan humor works on the premise of treating very important or emotional or dramatic things as normal and not exciting or stimulating. Dark comedy works on a similar premise of taking things that we don't normally joke about and telling jokes about them. Anti-humor is just something that is so incredibly bad at being a joke that it becomes funny again. What do all of these things have in common? Subverting expectations. Absurdist humor takes this to an extreme, but in a very special way. The expectations that absurdist humor subverts are, in essence, everything. Every preset rule in the universe, from the laws of physics to the laws of our society, is completely thrown out the window for the sake of presenting us with something so impossible and ridiculous that it becomes funny. For example, why did the elephant stand on the marshmallow? So he didn't fall in the hot chocolate. Humor! And now, to explain the joke you just heard. Jokes are nonsensical when they fail to completely resolve incongruities, so I cited one of the many permutations of the elephant joke. This joke is incompletely resolved because the situation is incompatible with the world as we know it. Certainly, elephants do not sit in cups of hot chocolate. We define humor as not the resolution of incongruity, but the perception of appropriate incongruity that all jokes contain a certain amount of incongruity, and that absurd jokes require the additional component of an absurd image with an incongruity of the mental image. So how does the Suicide Squad capture this style of humor so perfectly? We're going to be looking at 3 scenes from the movie in order to figure out why the humor works. This includes the beach scene, the show-off scene, Harley's escape scene, and the starfish battle. The Suicide Squad, specifically its beach scene, is a perfect example of setup and payoff, especially concerning absurdist humor. Like we established, absurdist humor should have a normal setup and an absurd payoff with little to no explanation. So let's see what setups we have in our beach scene. 1. Our main characters. This sets up the idea in our minds that we are currently following the people that we're going to follow for the rest of the movie. 2. Our main characters are badass. Given our hero walk just a minute ago, we would assume that we're supposed to view these characters as really cool. Number 3. TDK. His character is given some mystery, which means that when his powers are revealed, they'll probably be really cool. Probably the thing that saves all of our characters from the final villain at the end. Number 4. Hero moment. Our character here will stand his guard and try to avenge the fallen members of his team. Number 5. Take my spear. This will be for some heroic moment later where Harley avenges Javelin. All of this would be expected from an average superhero movie. But this is not your average superhero movie, because it's got absurdist comedy. So each one of these setups should be paid off in a way that we wouldn't expect at all, that is completely ridiculous, and has no explanation. Setup 1. These are not our main characters because only 2 actually live through this scene. Setup 2. One of the members dies because they can't swim. Number 3. TDK stands for the Detachable Kid, and his power is detaching his limbs and moving them around, which is as anticlimactic as that payoff could be. Number 4. This guy doesn't do anything. He runs away screaming, and then his head explodes. Number 5. The javelin payoff is something that will come much later, and we'll get to it. But the point is that in the first scene, 5 plot points were set up, and 4 were immediately subverted in ridiculous ways with no explanation, with the 5th one paid off at the end. Now let's take a look at the show-off scene, where Peacemaker and Bloodsport challenge each other to killing in the coolest fashion. Here, the setup is that we will see our heroes kill all the guards and rescue Rick Flag. Man, it's crazy to think that Rick Flag would have evaded capture if, he just had someone to, have his back. If someone had his back, I think that he would have survived. Just if someone had his back, if someone could have Rick Flag's back. Bloodsport and Peacemaker are both very competitive, especially around each other, so they begin challenging each other. Slowly, we begin to realize that these probably aren't guards. This escalates more and more as we see people chilling in tubs and singing songs, and also some things that I can't show on YouTube. All of this is just to find out that Rick Flag was actually rescued by these people, who are all members of a rebellion. This is, once again, a completely ridiculous payoff given what we know about these types of scenes in movies. And to keep up with absurdist humor, it's never explained or brought up again. In Harley Quinn's escape, I'll focus on the stylistic choices in this movie and how they contribute to the humor. The sequence has a fight where Harley is using iron gates, some anapathetic music, but the craziest part is definitely the flower scene. As Harley charges down the hallway, guns in both hands firing at everyone she sees, we start to see flowers flood the background. Eventually, even the blood splatters turn into flowers. It's totally ridiculous and ultimately doesn't need to happen, but it does anyway, because it's absurd. Now that we've discussed these absurdist elements individually, let's see how they all come together in the starfish battle. First, we open on another absurd stylistic choice. Fast forward to this part where Bloodsport decides to do the right thing and defeat the starfish. While this could be considered a genuine payoff, and in my opinion it is one, it is also a comedic payoff. In fact, multiple payoffs are delivered in this scene. But consider this, most of our characters' arcs are being completed because they decided to leave their mission in order to fight a giant starfish from outer space. The audience is now fully aware of the complete absurdity of this final act. And how is the monster defeated? Well, remember how I mentioned that 5th setup for Javelin? Well, it's time to deliver the payoff. It was at this point in the movie that I struggled to think about what was happening in front of me. There was this stupid grin on my face as the complete absurdity of this final act unfolded before my eyes. A giant starfish being defeated by an army of rats, pouring into its massive liquid eye and chewing on its insides. Because, why not? Mastering humor is hard, but absurd humor can be even harder to pull off because it's generally a lot more complex. It can be hard to strike the right balance between what the audience will find ridiculous but still hilarious, or just plain weird and off-putting. But between the proper setups and payoffs delivered, the hilarious subversions of expectations, the ridiculous stylistic choices, and the combination of all three, the Suicide Squad delivers a perfect absurdist comedy. I love colored pencils. They go really good with eggs. Once again, thank you all for watching, and if you sticked around to this moment, thanks. And if you didn't enjoy the video, cool. If you did enjoy the video, great. Make sure to like and subscribe and you know what to do. And once again, thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. I will be following up with the suggestion, and the next video I make will be an analysis of the other villains from Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically Barbossa. I'm excited to make that video. It should be a lot of fun, also because I get to revisit the pirate movies, and I just realized now that you've probably clicked off the video, or if you haven't, why? Go do other things. Okay, this is the editor checking in. Right, we're all good to go. Let's do this. Seems pretty normal to me, but oh no, they said there was something down here, so I guess we gotta look.